Hi crafty friends, welcome back to Crafting with the Gringas. In today's video, we're going to learn how to make this cute little coffee cup paper clip. So the first thing we're going to need is, I have here a variety of paper clips. This is kind of like a standard size, I guess you'd say. And then the ones that I've used here are just a little bit bigger. So that's kind of fun. You can get these in silver as well, like just the normal metal ones. These ones are coated, like they have like a plastic coating on them. Okay, so they do have a lot of fun colors and designs and stuff for these. So just look and see what you've got available in your area. And you can use these smaller sizes. It just depends on what you want to use them for. I do like the bigger ones just because it's usually like I'll put it in a book to keep my place, or in my planner to keep my place, kind of more than anything. So I do like the larger ones better, but if you've got little ones and you want to do this, it will also work. And then I'm also going to be using, on this I used a 2mm crochet hook, and then I am going to be using this, the La Abuelita Amigurumi yarn for this. It's calls for a 2 to a 3mm crochet hook, and I did forget to mention in my review it is made in Mexico. So I just forgot about it. I was thinking to say that and then I didn't. So it is fun. You can use, I would say this is a cotton, but I mean just kind of use whatever. If yours is slightly bigger than mine, your item will be slightly bigger. If it's a little bit thinner, it'll also be smaller. It just depends on the yarn that you have. But you absolutely can use a different yarn. You do want to be more on the 3 weight side. And so any yarn about this size should work and be roughly the size of mine. You're not going to want to get a 4 weight or a 5 weight because it is going to be a lot larger, unless you want it to be large. You know, that's fine. If you want to skip the paper clip and you just want a little cup of coffee, you know what I mean? Or like you say, if you want to make it in a 6 with the same pattern, it probably will just be a little tiny plushy size. So that could be fun, right? So to make another pink little coffee cup, I got one for me. This one I need to finish, and then I'm going to make another one for my other daughters. The 3 of us crafties can have our own little paper clip. What we're going to do, I'm going to make what is I call it magic circle. I'm not sure if there's a difference between a magic circle and a magic ring, but what I do is I grab the yarn in my hand. I've got this in my left hand. So I grab the yarn in my left hand and I fold my fingers over it, and I wrap it around, making an X on my finger. I'm going to insert my hook under this. So the one that's going over, no, the one that's underneath. You see how that's kind of, this strand's on top of this one. So the one that's underneath, and then I'm going to go through and pull that loop up. Okay, so let's do that again. If you're not a fan of a magic circle, you can just chain probably 3 and then just tighten it up later. But I do like the magic circle, so I'm going to cross, make an X on my finger. So I'm going to place my hook under the strand on the bottom. I'm going to pull that strand up. Then I'm going to take my finger off my finger. I'm still holding those strands. We don't want to let that go. Okay, so I'm going to grab it with this hand. So I still have my loop there. And then I'm going to chain 1. And that's going to kind of hold it in place. Now we've got our little ring that we can work into. Okay, so if you need to go back and rewatch that, it is hard. And if you don't get my method, there are other people that teach this in another way. And so the thing is to be able to crochet like I've said in the past, it doesn't necessarily have to be the way that I do it. It needs to feel right for you, and I'm pretty sure that there's a way that you can make this work. What's easy for me and what works for me doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna work for you, and so just don't make that a reason to not crochet, because crocheting is fun. Any kind of craft is, just with like anything else, there is a learning curve with almost everything, and so you just keep trying until you get it. You'll get it. We're gonna single crochet. We're gonna make 6 single crochets into our little circle. Okay, so now I've got 6, so let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we're gonna pull on that little string that we've left. So we'll pull on it, it's kind of tight. And so we've closed our little ring off. So now I do like to count back again. I like to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that way I know which one, because sometimes, like you say, I don't know if you can see that there's a little thing that kind of resembles a loop there, that little chain one we did. We don't want to go into that, so I always count back 6 so that I can remember that that's the one to go into. And these ones I am going to be going through both loops. So we're going to do 2 single crochets into this loop. I forgot to bring a stitch marker, so I'm going to use one of these paper clips. So I'm going to put, not the first, I'm going to put that in that little first loop. I'm going to put my stitch marker, so I've got 1 and 2 stitches. And we're going to do 1, 2, so we're going to do 2 in each single crochet till we get back to our stitch marker, and that's going to leave us with 12 single crochets. Okay, at this moment we should have 12 single crochets, and we can tighten that back up. So now what we're going to do is single crochet into the back loop only. So we're going to leave that front loop. That's just going to help our little cup turn. So we're going to add our stitch marker back into that same spot, and that way we know where to stop. And then another back loop only. So all the way around we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch, back loop only. Okay, and then we're gonna, at this point we can turn our little cup inside out. You see how that's gonna form a little cup shape for us. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do 2 more rows, but now on this one we're gonna get both again. We're gonna take both of our both the loops, and we can go through all of those. Oops, sorry, I forgot to place my stitch marker. So I did 2 stitches, so this is our first stitch. We are going to go through both the loops on our hook and make single crochets. We're going to go all the way around. once, and then we're going to go all the way around one more time. So we're going to have a total of that first row that's back loop only, one and then one more row of going through both loops. So in the end, like this little cup, we're going to have 1, 2, and 3, and you see we have a little ridge here. So 1, so that's the one that we do back loop only, 2, and then 3. So when I'm done with my cup, I will meet you back and we'll see how we can add our paper clip to our little coffee cup. Okay, I'm back. So I've got my back loop only round, and then I've got my 2 rounds. The next one we're gonna do, this is the stitch that I got my stitch marker out of. We're gonna do a slip stitch, and then we're gonna chain 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. Okay, so we're gonna slip stitch into that stitch, chain 6, and then we're gonna come down here and we're gonna just the stitch as close to that bottom as we can, just right at the bottom. We're just gonna insert our hook and pull up a loop, and we're gonna slip stitch into that. So we can pull our yarn out through the hole, and then we'll cut our yarn. Okay, we'll just leave this little tail to weave in right here. So this one I did 5 single crochets, and this one I did 6, just so you can see the difference. There is a little bit of a difference, but I just wanted this one to have just a little bit more of a handle visible. So I'm going to take that, and we're going to want to weave this in, and we're going to want to weave this in. Okay, so I'll meet you back when we've gotten those woven in. So I've got my little ends woven in, and I am going to leave my strings attached because in a minute I'm going to stuff these into my little cup, so that way we don't use as much stuffing. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to use a piece of contrasting yarn, in this case this white color. So I'm going to put a little piece of that onto my needle. Okay, and I'm going to start on one end. Okay, and I'm going to insert my needle just right there. I'm going to be going across. If you want to make these just a little smaller, you can. Like you see on this coffee cup, I did them like this. So I put 1, 2, and 3. You could make yours a little smaller or however you want. If you want to get 4 in there, you can. You could put 2, you could put 5, depending on how big and how far apart you space yours. I'm just going to go every few stitches. So I'm going to go on this one, and then I'm going to go diagonally down, and then you can go diagonally back up and see. So on a diagonal. You could also use this and do like just little lines all across, would be also cute. So it should be a fun little project. So I'm just gonna, let's see, this one I am getting a few more of these little V's on my cup. I've got 2, 3, and I'm pretty sure I can get one more just right there. When I'm done and I've reached the other end, you can just finish like that. Okay, so now we've got our little V's on our coffee. We are going to keep these on. You can actually even just keep your needle on that white thread. I'm just going to give mine a little bit of a tie to make sure that that doesn't want to come undone. Okay, now we're going to be attaching our paper clip. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to take this end. Okay, we're going to want our paper clip to be centered, or like, let's say if we want the little handle to be a little bit more in the front, we can put it like that or like this. You know, you keep in mind the way that you place your paper clip in is going to have an impact on where your paper clip sits. Okay, so I'm going to put mine right here at the bottom base of the little handle and just kind of wiggle it in there. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it kind of like if I had a needle, and I'm going to wiggle it out the other side. Okay, I'm trying to be a little bit as straight across as I can. So I've got, you see I've got those front loops that we've left. So I'm going to turn that and put it on. So right now I've got both edges, and then I'm just going to keep turning it one more time and just work it through till it is on the end of my paper clip. Okay, now it's time to just kind of squish it down and make it pretty. Okay, and then we can kind of move it up and fix our paper clip back to where it was. Okay, so the white we're going to leave out, and then this little tail of the white we can, and our pink yarn we can just stuff in there. Save us a little bit on stuffing, right? Okay, we probably want to get just a little tiny bit more stuffing. I just have a few more of the little yarn scraps that we can put in there. So I'm just going to use my scissors to kind of push those down in there. Now what I'm going to do before I start to close off cup is I'm going to just take this white, okay, and I'm just going to wrap it around this paper clip a couple times, because what we're going to want is for that paper clip not to go sinking down. So we want something to kind of anchor it here, kind of at the top. So I'm just going to use this white yarn a little bit to keep that there. That looks about right, and we're still going to leave this because we're still going to want to add the little heart detail on the top of our cup. Okay, so that's what I've got so far from both sides. You can pick whichever side you decide you want to use as the front, but both sides are going to look pretty cute. Okay, so now it might be a little difficult with this yarn there, but what we're gonna do, I'm gonna get brown, and like I say, if you don't drink coffee, this could be hot chocolate. You could use another color for it to be tea, but yeah, it's just kind of fun little project. So we're gonna start here at the kind of right before this handle. I'm gonna go into this second stitch right here. And I am going to do back loops only again. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that you leave a good enough tail so that you don't have to worry about not being able to weave it in. Okay, and I'm just going to pull up a loop through there. And then I'm going to chain one, and then I'm going to go into the next, into each stitch, which there should be 12. I'm going to put a single crochet into the back loop only. So we're only going to be grabbing that back loop. So the back loop only. And so we're going to go all the way around till we get back to where we started. A single crochet back loop only. And that's just going to help our coffee or whatever we have in our cup lay a little flatter when we close off our project. Okay, now I'm back where we did that first little chain, and I'm just going to do a single crochet into it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do 6 decreases. So we're going to start here, and when we get back we're going to do the invisible decrease, which is you insert your hook into one, and then you go around and insert your hook into the next one. So you've got those the two stitches on your hook, and you're going to pull up a loop through both those stitches, yarn over, pull up a loop through those, and make a single crochet. Okay, so again, this one, you've got 2 stitches together on that, on your hook. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, making our single crochet. So we're going to be doing 6 of those. So we've got, this is my third. This is my fourth. Okay, and now would probably be the time if we're going to add, if we need to add just a little more stuffing in there, we can. And like I've said, I do have a little bit of this left over from my other little cup and the projects that I've already made with this yarn, and so I'm just going to use that same yarn to stuff it. If you don't have yarn scraps, you can use stuffing, and if you don't have stuffing, you can use yarn scraps. Okay, it doesn't matter as long as it gets stuffed, right? Okay, so we're almost to the other edge. So this is going to be our last decrease. Okay, now I'm going to just pull a little bit of my yarn out, and I'm going to cut. I'm leaving a pretty good tail to weave in. Okay, so and I guess I do need to take, I didn't bring another needle here with me, so I'll have to take that one off and pull this yarn through to be about right there for just a minute to get it out of the way. And then I'm just going to go putting my needle through the front loop only of each of the stitches. So there should be 6 stitches in total that we're going to sew in together. Okay, now we can pull it tight and then like squish it down just a little bit there. Okay, and then what we're going to want to do is we're going to, since we've got our needle here, we can weave in our ends, trying to hide. We're not going to want it to be super visible that we've woven our ends in. You want to make sure that you try to hide it as much as you can with the different stitches. If you've got a stitch that the strand is going diagonally, you'll want to kind of mimic that and go diagonally with the stitch, just to keep it and as close together as you can. You're not, like on the inside it doesn't matter if you go from one side to the other, but on the outside you're going to want to make deliberate small stitches. So we'll cut it. I'm going to cut my yarn now that I've woven that in. So we've got our little coffee cup. Okay, so now what you want to do is see what side do you want your little handle to be on, if you want it on the left or if you want it on the right. I think I'm going to have mine on the right. Okay, and so I'm just going to bring my white up into this brown and try to have it centered as close as I can. Okay, and now what we're going to do is I'm going to make kind of a rough loop and insert my needle back in to the hole that we came out of, and then bring it back up through the strands. It's a little bit difficult with this yarn, and then okay, and so we just pull it, kind of give it the desired length that you would like it to have. I think I pulled mine just a little too tight. Okay, there's that. Once you got the loop the way that you like it, we're going to insert our needle back through and go back up into that same hole we came out of at the first. Okay, so right there I'm going to bring my needle up through there again so we can make another loop on the other side. And then we're going to just repeat the process. We're going to make another loop. We're going to go back into that same loop, and we're going to want to make it a little bit symmetrical as we can. So kind of about the same size loop, and that's about the same space. Yeah, I think that's fine for me. So I am not gonna go back through this side. I am gonna insert my needle, but like going over this loop, just so that that holds in place. Okay, and then we can just bring this out the bottom. We can cut it off, and that's going to be the end of our little coffee cup or hot chocolate, right? Our little winner coffees. I hoped you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you back in the next video. Bye!